I'm not popular at all. What should I do?
Wow, that's a straightforward question. Could you tell me briefly what you're worried about?
Yes. Actually, I'm worried because men don't approach me. And even when the atmosphere is good, it doesn't last long. I have no confidence in myself. I want to know how to behave in a relationship so that men will like it.
I see. You're worried about the anxiety that comes from a lack of confidence and the fact that men don't approach you much. Don't worry, there are several psychological techniques for love, and if you learn them and put them into practice, I'm sure you'll be able to approach love with more confidence and positivity than you do now.
Please let me know.
Of course. Let me explain step by step. First of all, about cleanliness and first impressions. A person's first impression is decided in a surprisingly short time. It is often said that first impressions are decided within a few seconds of meeting someone, and in fact, research has shown that people form their impression of the other person within just 7 seconds of meeting them. Even more extreme research has reported that impressions are formed after just a fleeting glance, 0.1 seconds. That's how important your first appearance and vibe are.
7 seconds? So it's decided that quickly.
Yes, it is. It really goes by in the blink of an eye. That's why cleanliness is so important in order to make the other person think this person is nice during that short first impression. People instinctively have a good impression of clean and well-groomed people. Psychologically, a clean appearance and a good smell stimulate the other person's 5 senses in a favorable way, giving the impression that this person seems trustworthy. Conversely, if your hair is messy, your clothes are wrinkled, or you have an unpleasant smell, the other person's attention will be directed in a negative direction. This is such a waste.
Cleanliness? Specifically, what should I pay attention to?
There are a few points to keep in mind when looking clean. The basics are to style your hair, keep your clothes clean, wear wrinkle-free and unstained clothes, cut your nails neatly, and smell nice, such as a perfume or shampoo that doesn't smell too strong. And don't forget to smile. Dental care is especially important, although it's often overlooked. A study showed that both men and women tend to place importance on the health of the mouth and teeth when judging first impressions of the opposite sex. Healthy, beautiful teeth and the color of the teeth alone increase the likability of the person. Conversely, dirty teeth tend to give a negative impression, so it's effective to make an effort to brush your teeth and whiten them.
I see. That's hard to hear. To be honest, I'm not very confident about my fashion sense. Do I have to work hard on my clothes and makeup?
You don't need to be overly concerned with fashion, but it's important to at least groom in a way that doesn't make the other person feel uncomfortable, as it is the basis for first impressions. You don't need to dress in high-end brand-name clothes. It's enough to wear clean clothes that suit you. In fact, there are studies that show that just being well-groomed can make you look intelligent and competent. And there is also data that shows that people who wear clothes that fit them are seen as more confident and competent than those who don't. In other words, if you wear clean clothes that suit you, people will think this person seems reliable. If you can get points for your cleanliness and grooming, you can move on to smoother communication. They say that appearance is 90%, but that's not an exaggeration.
I agree. I also feel like I can sense whether I feel at ease with someone I meet for the first time based on their clothes and demeanor.
That's true. From my own experience, I think we have a good impression of people who look clean. It is said that men are particularly sensitive to visual information, and cleanliness is a basic condition for making a woman want to be with them. However, appearance is not the only important thing when making a first impression. It is the overall atmosphere, including your smile, posture, and speaking style. Clean clothes combined with a bright smile are a sure way to make a woman want to be with you. British research has also shown that when meeting someone for the first time, people tend to judge their impression of them by their facial expression. A big smile in particular gives a much more positive impression than a frown, and is so effective that the other person will instinctively smile back. A smile alone elicits a response that makes people think you are nice. So, once you've dressed up, don't forget to smile and greet people.
Pay attention to cleanliness and greet people with a smile. I'll do my best. What else should I be aware of?
The next important thing is conversation and communication. If you make someone think this person is nice at first glance, you'll want to increase their liking for you through conversation. One of the love psychology techniques you can use is to find common ground.
Common ground?
Yes. People tend to feel closer to people who have something in common with them. In psychology, this is called the similar effect, but in simple terms, there is a tendency for similar people to attract each other. For example, when you find something in common, such as hobbies, favorite music, hometown, or values, you feel like, I might get along with this person. Research has also confirmed that people feel stronger liking and affinity for people who have a lot in common with them. This is a very stubborn effect, and recent studies have reported that it is consistently observed in any situation.
It's reassuring to have something in common, and it makes the conversation more interesting.
That's right. That sense of security and camaraderie leads to liking. So when you're talking to a guy you're interested in, try to consciously look for common ground. For example, if you're talking about his hobbies, say, "Actually, I like that too," or "I've been thinking about starting that recently," highlighting the common ground you have with him. Even if it's a hobby you've never tried, just show interest by saying, "I've always been interested in it. What do you enjoy about it?" The other person will feel that you're interested in what he likes, and the conversation will flow. Even if you don't have anything in common, it's important to create a common topic to talk about.
What if you really can't find anything in common?
It's rare for people to have absolutely nothing in common, but if you can't find anything right away, it's a good idea to draw him out. If he says, "Actually, it's true," say, as you ask him various questions, pick up on it by saying, "Oh, I like that too," or "I've always wondered about that." Even if you don't have anything in common, just sharing an interest by saying, "That sounds interesting, tell me more," can be effective. Even if you don't say you like the same things, the stance of, "I'm interested in you and I want to hear more about you," will leave a good impression.
It certainly seems better to listen to a man's various hobbies and empathize with him, rather than doing all the talking.
Exactly. This is exactly related to the next point. That's about being a good listener. In romantic situations, some women try too hard to get the other person to know about them, but in fact, popular women are often better listeners than talkers.
Are you a good listener? I've often heard that men want others to listen to them.
Yes, this is true for all humans, but men in particular are more likely to like someone who is willing to listen to them. This has been made clear in psychology experiments. When meeting someone for the first time, you are more likely to be perceived as a nice person if you let the other person talk, rather than doing all the talking. People who keep talking, monopolizing the conversation, tend to be shunned as egocentric. But on the other hand, if the other person feels that this person is trying to understand what they're saying, they are more likely to open up. This was also found in one study on first impressions. Some psychologists even suggest that when you meet, it's a good idea to let the other person talk first.
I have a habit of getting nervous and talking a lot, so I have to be careful.
When you get nervous, you get scared of silence and end up talking too much, don't you? But don't worry, it's best to think of the other person as the main character of the conversation. It is said that a good guideline is to talk 30% of the time and the other person 70% of the time. In other words, you should let the other person do 70% of the talking and keep yours to about 30%. Of course, if the other person asks you questions, you can answer them, but don't talk too much and ramble on for too long yourself. Instead, you should play a supporting role by asking questions and nodding so that the other person will continue to talk.
How should I nod specifically? It's no good just listening in silence, right?
Yes, just nodding in silence makes it unclear whether you are listening and makes the other person anxious. Japanese has a wonderful culture of back-channeling, so make full use of it. Back-channeling is when you interject something that matches what the other person is saying, such as, "Uh-huh, I see," or "So how did it go?" Good back-channeling is the lubricant that keeps the conversation going. For example, if a man talks about a hobby, try reacting with, "Wow," or "That's amazing." If you're surprised, say, "Really?" If you can empathize with something, say, "I know what you're talking about," or nod and say, "I see." These kinds of small back channels show that you are listening carefully and that you empathize with what he's saying.
It seems like I can put back into practice with backbiting right away. So I just nod and react without interrupting what the other person is saying.
That's right. Leaving room for them to want to know more leads to a mysterious charm. So, for example, when you are asked about yourself, don't tell them everything at once, but only give them a little at a time, or don't talk about all your hobbies, but instead say, "I'll tell you more next time," and end the conversation. Alternatively, men tend to be more interested in women who have a mysterious amount of free time than women who are always fully booked. So instead of immediately saying yes to every date invitation, try to avoid it by saying, "I have plans that day, but I'll be fine the next time." However, be careful not to overdo it. If you don't accept the invitation at all, the other person will give up, thinking, maybe there's no chance. So it's not a carrot and stick approach, but the basic rule is to be friendly but to show some surprise and room for surprise from time to time.
That's a difficult balance. Express your feelings but don't show them all.
Yes, as you say, balance is key. For example, smile and have fun during the date, but don't send a long thank you message right after it's all over, but send a simple thank you the next day. Express how happy you were, but leave some space to make them think, "I wish I could have talked more." You don't need to tell them all about your private life in detail from the first time. It's more attractive to have a little mystery. It's like leaving something to tell the other person later, like, "By the way, what kind of music do you usually listen to?"
It's true you want to know a lot about the person you're interested in. I'll try it too, bit by bit.
Please give it a try. However, don't forget that the mystery I just talked about and the sincerity of WhatsApp I mentioned earlier are based on consideration for the other person. If the goal becomes too much bargaining, you will end up messing with the other person and making them feel anxious, so it's important to balance it with feelings of caring for the other person. On top of that, it's good to be able to create a sense of mystery as a little spice.
Yes, I understand.
I explained a lot, but I don't think each one is that difficult.
Thank you. There were many things that I think I can put into practice. I feel a sense of hope.
That's good. You don't have to do everything perfectly at once, so try to be conscious of things that you can do little by little. For example, try to smile and nod more when talking to men at work from tomorrow, or when you have lunch with someone you like. Try to bring up a common topic first. Try taking action on just one thing. If you change your behavior, the other person's reaction will surely be different from before. Those small successes will also lead to confidence.
Yes, I feel like even I can change. First, I'll fix my hair and start by greeting people with a smile. Then, maybe I'll ask the person I like to go to the movies.
That's great. Please try it out. Once you have the courage to take action, you've already started to move forward. I hope you'll make use of psychological techniques and have fun in your love life.
Talking with you has made me feel more positive. Thank you.
I'm glad I could help you. You have a lot of charm, so be confident. If there's anything I don't understand about what we talked about today, or if you hit a wall, please come and talk to me anytime.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to our next encounter.
That's the spirit. I hope you find a wonderful relationship. I'm rooting for you. I hope you'll make use of psychological techniques and have fun in your love life.
Talking with you has made me feel more positive. Thank you.
I'm glad I could help you. You have a lot of charm, so be confident. If there's anything I don't understand about what we talked about today, or if you hit a wall, please come and talk to me anytime.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to our next encounter.
That's the spirit. I hope you find a wonderful relationship. I'm rooting for you. Thank you for your hard work today. Please do your best.
Thank you so much. I'll do my best.